The asylum's haunting echoes. In the heart of a secluded forest stood the dilapidated remains of an asylum for the mentally ill. Decades ago, it was a place of horrors, where the mentally tormented were locked away from society, their anguished cries haunting the surrounding woods. The asylum was abandoned after numerous disturbing incidents, and now only ghostly echoes remain to tell the tale of its tragic history. The once imposing asylum had a sinister allure, its dark corridors inviting anyone brave enough to explore its secrets. It was said that the spirits of the tormented souls who suffered within its walls still lurked, forever trapped within the confines of their own minds. On a chilling autumn evening, a group of adventurous teenagers gathered around a campfire, swapping spooky stories as they dared each other to visit the forsaken asylum. Among them was Alex, a skeptical young man who had always scoffed at the idea of the supernatural. But tonight, the allure of a haunted asylum was too much to resist. As they approached the asylum, the air grew heavier, and an eerie silence enveloped the group. The asylum's crumbling facade loomed before them, shrouded in darkness, and yet a faint glow of unexplained light emanated from within. Ignoring the warnings of fear, they pushed open the rusty doors and stepped into the asylum's forsaken interior. The oppressive atmosphere immediately clung to them like a heavy fog. Broken furniture, abandoned medical equipment, and faded patient records were scattered throughout the corridors. The echoes of the asylum's haunting past reverberated through the empty halls, and strange whispers seemed to accompany every step. Alex couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, as if unseen eyes followed his every move. Each room held an unsettling ambiance, but the morgue was the most terrifying. The rusty steel tables and a single flickering light overhead created a nightmarish sight. As they stood there, a chilling breeze caressed their faces, carrying with it the scent of decay. Within minutes of entering the asylum, they started hearing distant footsteps, the agonized cries of the past occupants, and the unsettling clanking of chains. Shadows danced on the walls, seemingly taking on a life of their own. Panic began to grip the group as they desperately sought an escape route, but the asylum seemed to shift its layout, disorienting them further. Alex, shaken but resolute, led the group deeper into the asylum, seeking a way out. In one room, they stumbled upon a collection of drawings made by the former patients. Disturbing images of twisted figures and ghastly faces adorned the walls. Among them was a peculiar sketch of a cloaked figure surrounded by tormented souls. As they continued their exploration, they encountered cold spots and unexplained sensations of touch. Doors slammed shut on their own, and strange apparitions appeared for mere seconds before vanishing into thin air. The very air seemed to pulsate with malevolence, and the asylum itself appeared to feed off their terror. In a desperate attempt to escape, they followed a faint light to the asylum's abandoned chapel. As they stepped inside, the air grew suffocatingly cold, and a haunting choir of ghostly voices filled the room. The group found themselves surrounded by floating candles, flickering without any discernible source of fire. Petrified, they clung to each other, seeking comfort in their shared terror. With trembling hands, Alex took out a worn-out diary he found in the chapel's altar. Its pages were filled with the tragic stories of the asylum's inmates, the victims of cruel experiments and inhumane treatments. The final entry spoke of a demonic ritual that was said to have taken place to release malevolent spirits upon the world, and a warning about the consequences of disturbing the ritual's resting place. As the ghostly choir intensified, the cloaked figure from the drawing materialized before them. Its eyes, hollow and piercing, locked onto Alex's, who felt an inexplicable connection to the entity. Through a haze of fear, Alex understood that the figure was one of the asylum's former doctors, driven to darkness by his own evil deeds. The cloaked figure beckoned them closer, and against their instincts, the group stepped forward as if pulled by an invisible force. The diary slipped from Alex's hand, its pages flipping open to reveal the incantation of the demonic ritual. Before anyone could react, the cloaked figure spoke in an ancient, guttural language, chanting the forbidden words. Alex's mind flooded with a rush of memories that weren't their own. They saw the twisted experiments, the suffering of the patients, and the depths of the doctor's depravity. In that moment, the group realized that the only way to break the asylum's curse was to confront its darkest truths. Summoning their courage, each member of the group took turns facing the cloaked figure, confessing their deepest regrets and fears. The entity seemed to feed off their emotions, growing stronger with each revelation. As the last person spoke, the asylum shook violently, and the air crackled with energy. Then, unexpectedly, the tormented souls depicted in the drawing emerged from the walls, floating around the group like ethereal guardians. The spirits, once trapped and twisted by the malevolence of the asylum, had now found allies in the group's vulnerability and honesty. In a final act of redemption, the cloaked figure revealed his true identity, Dr. Samuel Hastings. He begged for forgiveness, expressing remorse for his actions during his lifetime. The spirits, recognizing the sincerity of his plea, granted him absolution, and Dr. Hastings's form began to dissipate, leaving behind a sense of peace. As the last remnants of the demonic ritual faded, the group found themselves back in the abandoned chapel. But this time, the suffocating cold was replaced with warmth. The ghostly choir's haunting melody transformed into a soothing symphony, embracing them in a comforting embrace. Through their collective honesty and the spirit's benevolence, the asylum's malevolence was dispelled. The trapped souls found release, and the asylum's walls no longer held on to their tormented memories.